The new Ben 10 comic changed something that seemed untouchable, Ben's first transformation. Because while the original series chose Heat Blast as the first alien to show us power and destruction, the comic chose 4 arms to survive. There are a lot of comparisons that have changed the story forever, and today we'll see them in this video. As for me, I'll shut up for a month and let's get started. The first difference between the comic and the original series shows up literally in the first minute. Vilgax's arrival is extremely important because it literally defines the tone of both versions. Both present us with the same character searching for the Omnitrix, but while one shows us a galactic conqueror, the other shows us someone who is losing. In the original series, he appears under attack, his ship is being destroyed, his systems are failing, practically everything around him conveys desperation. Even when he speaks, you can feel the need, like, for the precious.
The Omnitrix must be mine, and there won't be any being in the galaxy who can stop me.
This Vilgax doesn't look like a conquering god, he looks like someone just trying to survive. Now, the comic does exactly the opposite. Here, Vilgax isn't running away, he's conquering. The story presents him as a universal threat who already has control of the situation. And that completely changes the meaning.
Encounters the Omnitrix.
Because now it no longer seems like an object that Vilgax needs to survive. Now it seems like the final step to become something unstoppable. The differences between both stories become even more interesting when we see how the Omnitrix actually arrives on Earth. In the comic, it's an object without an apparent destination. Vilgax has started his search, but he's still far from getting it. In the original series, it's an object already located by Vilgax, who because of his attack, forced the Omnitrix to be sent to Earth. In the first one, nothing happens that affects the story, but in the second one, it does have very serious consequences. The war for the Omnitrix causes Vilgax's ship to explode, destroying half of his body and leaving him practically useless for a good part of the season. Let's talk about the relationship between Ben and Gwen. In the original series, the fights between them are annoying but fun. The insults are simple, I could even say there's some chemistry, kind of a northern vibe, but overall it feels more like rivalry.
Few things are scarier than a summer with your weird cousin.
I'm busy looking for a cure for extreme stupidity on the internet. Not yet, Ben, but we're hopeful.
In the comic, it really feels like a more human fight, more like real life. It's like that fight with your little brother where you tell him he's adopted, that nobody loves him, and you say a bunch of things just to hurt him. The fight doesn't end until one of you cries. In the comic, it feels like that, very personal. For the first time, Ben is really emotionally hurt by what Gwen says. Even though this seems like a small change, it actually completely alters the next scene where Ben encounters the Omnitrix. Because in the original series, Ben simply walks away because he feels like taking a walk. In the comic, Ben leaves, hurt, sad, and resentful. The arrival of the Omnitrix. In the original series, Ben practically runs toward the meteorite without thinking too much about it. The scene feels mysterious but exciting, as if the universe just chose him for an adventure. And that fits perfectly with the classic tone of the series. Lighter, more fantastic, and more impulsive. In the comic, the situation changes completely again, because this Ben does seem to understand that something falling from space could be dangerous. There's curiosity, of course, but there's also fear. This makes us feel like we're with a much more realistic Ben. Because any kid would be interested in something that just fell from the sky, but very few would approach it thinking there's no danger at all. The Ben from the comic gets to that point, and then he knows that the right thing to do would be to call an adult, in this case, Grandpa Max, which makes us feel that this version is much more mature. Next, in the original series, the Omnitrix already looks like advanced technology. It's sleek, and I could even say it's desirable. In the comic, it's a mass of moving technology. In both versions, they jump onto Ben's wrist, but in the comic, it feels much more invasive. And here, the Omnitrix doesn't seem like something futuristic. It seems alive, a strange organism that attaches itself to Ben without asking permission. And honestly, it's even scary. The debut of the first alien comes along with a theory that's been on my mind a lot. The thing is, the Omnitrix might have some kind of consciousness, or in any case, it could be manipulated by the actions of some user. Let's break it down. In the original series, Ben's first alien is Heat Blast, an unstable alien that Ben uses to play around. He doesn't face any problems, only the one he causes himself, the fire that we all know about. In the comic, the first alien to debut is 4 Arms. A very fitting alien, since Ben uses him to protect himself from this mutant bear's attack. As minor as it may seem, this completely changes the meaning of the scene, because 4 Arms doesn't represent destruction, he represents protection. Ben gets 4 Arms right at the moment when he needs strength to physically survive, not to destroy, not to impress, it's to protect himself. From the beginning, Ben never wanted to take down the bear. In fact, he even felt some empathy. He knew it wasn't the bear's fault for acting that way. The debut of the second alien already crosses other boundaries. In the original series, they introduce Wildmutt just to show that Ben has more aliens and different abilities. But in the comic, Heat Blast is the second alien and appears as a direct continuation of the battle against the mutant bear. Ben's transformation ends at a crucial moment, and without understanding anything about the Omnitrix, he starts talking to it. He asks it for help because he was about to become bear food, and honestly, the Omnitrix seems to have listened to him, since it immediately gives him Heat Blast. Now, something important happens here. When Ben tries to use his powers, he ends up burning the bear and part of the forest where he was. Ben had no intention of hurting the bear, and the fact that his powers got out of control wasn't entirely up to him either, because he was literally an alien who had no idea how to use it. At this point, the comic reinforces something very interesting. Ben immediately realizes that his powers are out of control. Previously, when he was 4 Arms, he had the chance to destroy the bear, and he didn't do it. He didn't act out of malice or resentment, even when the bear almost tore his face off. When he finally gets Heat Blast, he doesn't try to burn it either. The damage happens because Ben doesn't understand the limits of the power he just received. That's why I feel that the Omnitrix is already starting to show 2 things. The first is that the Omnitrix might have its automatic protection system activated, or the lifesaver mode that we all know so well. And the second is more interesting, and it's that the Omnitrix might be testing Ben. Or even better, could someone be evaluating how he uses the most powerful weapon in the universe? After all the chaos caused by the Omnitrix, there's a character who starts to feel much more important than usual, Grandpa Max. In the original series, Max clearly knows more than he lets on, but the story decides to hide it. We only see small hints that he understands certain things about alien technology or space threats, although it never really seems urgent. In the comic, there's a slight similarity, but here it's no longer just a grandfather hiding secrets. He seems like someone preparing for something he knew would eventually happen, and honestly, that makes the character feel much more unsettling. Because while Ben is still trying to understand what he just received, Max already seems to understand the real danger of the Omnitrix. In the original series, it's true that we find out Grandpa Max is a plumber, but much later on. Here, from the very first comic, Max is already revealing some pretty big things. If you found another interesting detail or similarity with the original series, please let me know in the comments. And for current and new members, you'll now have a spot where you'll get a shout out. So a big shout out to Ariel Cortez, Morales with the Diamond rank, Maise with the Ultra T rank, Jero GGA with the Fire rank, Mateo QZ with the Fire rank, Manu with the Cannonball rank, Fran DBL with the Cannonball rank, and for Alexander Kaliza Espinosa with the 4 Arms rank. With these incredible people, I say goodbye. Remember, I am Frio, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.